Welcome to proactivephysioknowledge.com. I am Jamin Bhatt. Today, I am giving you the information about the research perspective and arthrogenic muscle inhibition. Researchers state that to appreciate the broader impact of arthrogenic muscle inhibition, we should consider its clinical manifestations and how they collectively influence an interaction between the patients and their customary activities, as well as their environment. As any orthopedic injury has the potential to negatively affect the patient's health and well-being from a biopsychosocial perspective. Arthrogenic muscle inhibition as a root therapeutic target, which is given its widespread manifestation, muscle weakness, activation failure, and a volume loss are the hallmark characteristic consistently observed among the individuals with history of joint injury or a pathology. Clinically, these signs indicate a diminished ability to voluntarily contract the skeletal muscle tissue following injury. However, to understand this phenomena from a neurophysiological perspective, we must consider a motor neuron behavior as a muscle function which is dependent on both the availability of motor neurons and the ability to voluntarily recruit them. According to De Silva and McCann, they state that individuals with joint injury often presents with fewer motor neuron available to recruit and diminished ability to voluntarily recruit the motor neuron to a normal extent. The muscle inhibition responsible for this observation, which is reflexive in nature and largely mediated by presynaptic mechanism within the spinal cord during the early phase of recovery, which is likely due to changes in joint homeostasis secondary to any combination of tissue damage, joint laxity, effusion, pain, or inflammation. This was stated by Smith and his teammates in 2013. Again, in Koshini et al., these changes disrupt the normal neural signaling between the joint receptors and the central nervous system, which altering the sensory information transmitted to spinal cord and a brain. Evidence suggests that arthrogenic muscle inhibition manifests actually due to reduction in neural input stemming from damage to mechanoreceptors within the ligament tissue. However, Edward and its teammate 2004 and Park et al. 2017 experimental pain, effusion, and animal models also suggest that excessive neural input contributes to arthrogenic muscle inhibition, which is due to activity of nociceptors or a joint mechanoreceptors. Thus, interventions designed to restore or augment the sensory information, which could be advantageous during the early phase of recovery. A persistent muscular impairment are commonly reported at the time patients are returning to unrestricted physical activity, and for many years thereafter, Norte and Tegment et al. Said that it may contribute to high rates of re-injury and patient-reported disability. This unfortunate observation suggests that traditional rehabilitation approaches fail to resolve the underlying pathophysiology of muscle dysfunction. Although additional factors beyond neurophysiological impairment may contribute to muscle dysfunction, we have specifically focused on the former for the purpose of this review. For example, a motor neuron pool excitability appears to resolve over a period of time. A recent study by Rush and teammates 2021, a central activation failure persists and a decrease in the excitability of neuronal projection from the motor cortex to peripheral musculature develops during the chronic phase of recovery. Moreover, individuals recovering from joint injury demonstrate a widespread difference in patterns of brain activity indicative of great cognitive effort, attention, and visual reliance during the simple motor task. In summary, these findings suggest that a persistent muscle inhibition may be influenced by neural plasticity within the brain, which highlighting the need to consider a supraspinal origin when treating the muscle inhibition. Thank you. Don't forget to share with your friend.